Right now, wherever you are, whatever you are feeling, take a moment to breathe and really hear this. Feeling stuck does not mean you are broken, feeling lost does not mean you are weak, and feeling tired of failing does not mean your story is over. It only means you have reached the point where your old way of thinking can no longer carry you forward, and that is not the end, that is the beginning. Because every major transformation in life starts with a moment of discomfort, a moment where the soul says, I can't keep living the same way and expecting different results, and that realization is not a curse, it is a signal that you are ready for growth, ready for change, ready to rise into a stronger version of yourself than you have ever known. And even if your past is filled with mistakes, delays, and disappointments, those experiences are not proof of your failure, they are proof of your endurance. Proof that you are still here, still breathing, still searching, still capable of choosing a new direction, and today is not just another day, it is a turning point if you decide to treat it like one. Because your mindset is the doorway to your future, and the way you speak to yourself, the way you see yourself, and the way you interpret your struggles will determine whether you stay trapped in the same cycle or step into a higher level of thinking, courage, and purpose, and you must understand this deeply. You are not behind in life, you are on your own path, and comparison only steals your peace, it never gives you progress, so stop measuring your journey by someone else's timeline and start honoring your own, because growth is not a race, it is a process, and every process requires patience, effort, and belief, and even when you feel tired of trying, tired of hoping, and tired of starting over, there is still a quiet strength inside you that has not given up, a part of you that knows you were meant for more than constant self-doubt and fear, and that part of you is the voice you must start listening to today, because change does not begin when circumstances become perfect, it begins when your decision becomes firm, when you say, I am done living in confusion, I am done accepting less than my potential, I am done letting fear decide my future, and in that moment, your direction starts to shift, your vision becomes clearer, and your heart becomes stronger, and even if you cannot see the whole path yet, you only need enough light for the next step, because clarity comes from movement, not from waiting, and confidence grows from action, not from overthinking, and today, this message is not here to scare you, pressure you, or make you feel small. It is here to remind you that you are capable of change, worthy of growth, and powerful enough to rewrite your story, one choice, one thought, one step at a time. Most of the time, the real prison is not your situation, your past, or your circumstances, it is the invisible chains inside your mind, the beliefs that quietly tell you, I'm not good enough, I always fail, nothing ever works for me, and these thoughts repeat so often that they start to feel like truth, but they are not truth, they are habits of thinking, and anything that is learned can be unlearned, because your mind is not fixed, it is flexible, it is powerful, and it is constantly shaping your reality based on what you feed it, and if you have been feeding it fear, doubt, and negativity for a long time, it will naturally produce hesitation, low confidence, and a sense of being stuck, but the moment you begin to question those thoughts instead of obeying them, everything starts to change, because just because a thought appears in your mind does not mean it deserves your belief. And just because you failed before does not mean you are a failure, it only means you are someone who tried, and trying is the first requirement for growth, and when you begin to replace "I can't" with "I'm learning," "It's too late" with "I'm starting now," and "I'm not strong enough" with "I'm becoming stronger every day," you begin to loosen the grip of those mental chains. And this is not about pretending everything is perfect, it is about choosing a stronger perspective, one that gives you power instead of taking it away. And you must remember that your past does not have the authority to decide your future unless you give it that authority, and every day you wake up, you are given a chance to think differently, to act differently, and to build a new pattern. And at first it may feel uncomfortable, because your mind is used to the old story, but discomfort is often a sign that growth is happening, and as you continue to challenge the limiting beliefs, to speak to yourself with encouragement instead of criticism, and to take small, consistent actions even when motivation is low, you will start to feel a shift, a quiet confidence rising, a sense of control returning, and a realization that you are not as trapped as you once thought. And the moment you understand that you have the power to choose your thoughts, you also understand that you have the power to change your direction, and that awareness alone is enough to begin breaking free from the mental chains that have kept you feeling stuck, lost, and tired for so long. Self-belief is not something you either have or don't have forever, it is something that can be rebuilt, strengthened, and grown, just like a muscle, and if life has weakened it through repeated disappointments, criticism, or setbacks, that does not mean it is gone, it only means it has not been trained in a long time, and the way you begin rebuilding it is by keeping small promises to yourself. By doing the things you say you will do even when you don't feel like it, because every time you follow through, you send a message to your mind that you can be trusted, and trust in yourself is the foundation of confidence, and you must also learn to separate your identity from your outcomes, because failing at something does not mean you are a failure, it means you are a person in the process of learning, growing, and improving, and the strongest people in the world are not those who never fall, but those who refuse to stay down. And when you start to look at your past not as a list of mistakes but as a collection of lessons, your relationship with yourself begins to change, and instead of seeing proof of weakness, you begin to see evidence of resilience, of effort, of survival. And this shift in perspective allows compassion to replace self-judgment, and encouragement to replace harsh inner talk, and as you practice speaking to yourself with the same kindness and patience you would offer to someone you care about, you create an inner environment where growth feels possible. Instead of overwhelming, and over time, as your actions align with your intentions and your thoughts align with your values, your belief in yourself naturally strengthens, not because everything suddenly becomes easy, but because you begin to trust that you can handle what comes, learn from what happened. When you finally begin to step into a new direction, you may not feel completely confident, completely certain, or completely ready, but what you will feel is a quiet determination, a sense that staying the same is no longer an option, and this is the moment where everything starts to shift, because progress is not about making one huge, perfect move, it is about making many small, intentional choices that slowly carry you forward, and as you take these steps, you will start to notice changes. Not only in your circumstances but in your mindset, in the way you respond to challenges, in the way you speak to yourself, and in the way you see your future, and instead of viewing obstacles as signs that you should quit, you will begin to see them as part of the process, as evidence that you are stretching beyond your comfort zone and growing into a stronger version of yourself. And you will understand that direction is created by action, not by waiting for clarity, and that clarity often comes after you move, not before, and as you continue to move, even slowly, you will build momentum, and momentum creates confidence, and confidence fuels further action, forming a cycle that carries you forward, and in this journey, it is important to be patient with yourself, to celebrate small wins, and to remember that transformation is not instant, it is gradual. But every step you take in alignment with your values, your goals, and your inner truth brings you closer to the life you want to live, and one day you will look back and realize that the moment you decided to change your mindset was the moment your direction truly began to change, and that decision, made today, will become the foundation of a future built on resilience, clarity, and a deep belief in your own ability to grow, to learn, and to create a better path forward. Opportunity, greater influence, and a life shaped deliberately rather than accidentally, this is not an exaggerated promise, it is the natural outcome of behavior repeated consistently over time. Continue clicking forward, continue acting with intention, continue honoring your decisions, and allow discipline to quietly deliver what motivation never could: stability, strength, clarity, control, and a future built by choice rather than chance. After the first spark of motivation, there will come a time when things feel ordinary again, when progress seems slow, and when the excitement you felt at the beginning starts to fade, and this is where most people stop, not because they are incapable, but because they mistake the absence of strong emotion for the absence of growth, and this is a misunderstanding that can quietly pull them back into old patterns. Because real change is not built on constant inspiration, it is built on steady consistency, on showing up even when the days feel repetitive, even when results are not immediately visible, and even when no one is there to applaud your effort, and in these moments, it is important to remember that growth often happens beneath the surface long before it becomes visible, just like roots forming underground before a plant breaks through the soil, and if you give up too early, you never get to see what was about to emerge, and so staying consistent means trusting the process. Even when your emotions fluctuate, it means continuing to act in alignment with your goals even when your feelings are uncertain, and it means reminding yourself that every small effort counts, that every day you choose to continue is a day you are building strength, patience, and resilience, and over time, this consistency shapes your character, making you someone who does not rely solely on mood or comfort, but on commitment and purpose. And as you develop this inner stability, you will find that your confidence becomes quieter but stronger, your focus becomes clearer, and your sense of direction becomes more steady, because you are no longer driven only by what feels good in the moment, but by what you know is good for your growth in the long run. There will be moments when you question whether your effort is truly worth it, when doubt quietly asks if all this patience, discipline, and inner work will really lead to something better, and in those moments it is important to remember that progress is rarely loud, dramatic, or instant. It is often quiet, gradual, and built through repeated small choices that may not feel powerful in the moment but become powerful over time. And trusting the process means understanding that every step, even the ones that feel slow or uncertain, is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than before, and trusting yourself means believing that you can learn from what happens, adapt when things do not go as planned, and continue forward without losing hope. And this trust grows when you look back and realize how many challenges you have already survived, how many times you thought you could not go on and yet you did, and how many lessons you have gained from experiences that once felt only painful, and when you allow yourself to see your journey with compassion instead of harsh judgment, you begin to understand that you are not behind, you are becoming, and that every phase of growth has its own purpose, its own timing, and its own value, and as you continue to move forward with patience and belief, you will notice a deeper sense of calm replacing constant worry, a steady confidence replacing self-doubt, and a clearer vision replacing confusion, because you are no longer rushing to prove yourself, you are simply becoming more aligned with who you are meant to be, step by step, day by day, with trust in the process and trust in yourself guiding you onward. As you continue on this path, you will begin to sense a quiet shift inside you, a feeling that you are no longer just reacting to life, but consciously shaping it, and this is where you start rising into your true potential, because potential is not something you are born using fully, it is something you grow into by choosing courage over comfort, learning over giving up, and patience over rushing. And when you look at yourself through the lens of possibility instead of limitation, you start to see that your abilities are not fixed, your future is not sealed, and your story is still being written, and every effort you make, no matter how small, is adding a new line to that story, one of resilience, one of determination, and one of steady self-improvement. And as you become more aware of your strengths, your values, and your goals, you will also become more aware of what drains you, distracts you, and pulls you away from growth, and this awareness allows you to make wiser choices, to protect your energy, and to invest your time in things that truly matter, and over time, this alignment between who you are and what you do creates a sense of inner peace and confidence, because you are no longer trying to become someone else, you are simply becoming the best version of yourself, and in this process, as you reach this stage of your journey, you may begin to feel a renewed sense of purpose, a clearer understanding of what you want to create, and a deeper commitment to the path you are walking. And this purpose is not something that appears suddenly in perfect clarity, but something that becomes stronger as you continue to act, reflect, and learn. And moving forward with purpose means letting go of the need to have everything figured out and instead focusing on what you can do today, in this moment, to move a little closer to the person you want to become. And it means allowing yourself to grow at your own pace, without constant comparison or self-criticism, and as you continue to build discipline, self-belief, and inner strength, you will find that your confidence is no longer dependent on external approval, but rooted in your own sense of direction and values. And this inner alignment creates a feeling of stability and calm, even when the future is uncertain. And with each step forward, you reinforce the belief that change is possible, that effort matters, and that your life is not defined by where you started, but by the choices you make now. And as you carry this renewed purpose into your daily actions, you will notice a gradual but powerful transformation, one that shapes not only what you achieve, but how you see yourself, how you handle challenges, and how you continue to grow with patience, resilience, and quiet determination. As you continue moving forward, you may begin to realize that the strength you are building now is the very strength you once wished someone else could give you, and this realization is powerful, because it means you are no longer waiting to be saved by circumstances, by people, or by perfect timing. You are becoming your own source of stability, encouragement, and guidance, and this does not mean you will never need support. It simply means you are learning to stand on your own inner foundation, to trust your own judgment, and to believe in your own ability to grow. And as you become more aware of your progress, even the quiet, invisible kind, you will start to feel a sense of pride that is not based on ego, but on effort, on consistency, and on the courage it takes to keep going when the path is uncertain. And you will understand that every challenge you faced has helped shape your perspective, teaching you patience, empathy, and resilience, and in becoming the person you once needed, you also become someone who can offer understanding and encouragement to others, not from a place of perfection, but from a place of experience and growth, and this gives your journey deeper meaning, because it is no longer only about personal success, it is about becoming wiser, kinder, and more grounded, and as you carry this awareness with you, you will move forward with a calm confidence, knowing that you are capable of learning, adapting, and continuing to evolve, and that the person you are becoming is stronger, clearer, and more hopeful than the person you once were. As you continue on this path of growth, one of the most important qualities you will develop is patience, not just with the world around you, but with yourself, because real change takes time, and becoming the person you are meant to be is a process, not a single moment, and when you learn to be patient with your progress, you stop rushing your healing, your learning, and your transformation, and you begin to appreciate each stage for what it teaches you, and this patience brings a deep sense of inner peace, because you are no longer constantly fighting the present or wishing to be somewhere else. You are simply doing your best where you are, with what you have, and trusting that every small effort is adding up, and as this peace grows, you will notice that you react less from fear and more from understanding, less from pressure and more from clarity, and less from self-doubt and more from quiet confidence. And you will realize that even when life feels uncertain, you can remain steady inside, grounded in the knowledge that you are learning, improving, and moving forward at your own pace, and this steady inner calm becomes your strength, allowing you to face challenges without losing hope, to handle delays without losing faith in yourself, and to continue walking forward with a heart that is open, a mind that is clear, and a spirit that trusts in the journey. As you reflect on how far you have come, you may begin to see that growth is not only about overcoming difficulties, but also about opening yourself to new possibilities, new ways of thinking, and new ways of living, and when you allow yourself to believe that your future can be different from your past, you create space for hope to enter. And this hope becomes a quiet but powerful force that encourages you to keep learning, to keep improving, and to keep exploring what you are capable of, and embracing growth means being willing to step into the unknown with curiosity instead of fear, to see challenges as chances to expand your understanding, and to welcome change as a natural part of becoming, and as you do this, you will notice that your perspective widens, your confidence deepens, and your willingness to try increases, and you will begin to recognize opportunities that you may have overlooked before, simply because your mindset has shifted from limitation to possibility, and this shift allows you to move forward with a sense of optimism and courage, knowing that even though the path may not always be easy, it is leading you toward a future shaped by learning, resilience, and a belief in your own potential to grow into something greater than you once imagined. As you continue to move ahead, you may notice that courage no longer feels like a sudden burst of bravery, but a steady choice to keep going even when things are uncertain, and this kind of courage is powerful because it is built on clarity, on understanding what truly matters to you and why you are willing to put in the effort to grow, and when your reasons become clear, your actions become stronger, and hesitation slowly loses its grip, and you begin to trust your ability to make decisions, to learn from them, and to adjust your path when needed, without losing confidence in yourself, and this clarity allows you to focus your energy on what supports your growth instead of what drains it, helping you to let go of unnecessary worries, comparisons, and doubts, and as your mind becomes clearer, your heart becomes lighter, and your steps become more steady, and you start to feel a sense of direction that comes from within, not from pressure or fear, but from a genuine desire to move toward a better version of yourself, and with this courage and clarity guiding you, you are able to face each day with a calm determination, knowing that even if the journey is long, you are capable of walking it, learning from it, and becoming stronger with every step you take. As you arrive at this point in your journey, you may begin to feel a deeper sense of purpose forming within you, not as a loud declaration,